All right, I'm back from your favorite Cincinnati hotel room at the Hyatt Regency. Have a few hours before I have to fly back to the atmospheric river in California. So we're going to make some content. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I was up at, 3 a.m. last night working on a video for you guys. So subscribe if you haven't yet. Let's get this done. Let's talk about DeMeco Ryans because there's a lot of focus on Jimmy Garoppolo, on George Kittle, on the offense, obviously on Brandon Ayuk, diving over the pylon to give the 49ers a dramatic victory. And I get it. This is an offense-first team. It's not 2019 anymore. But this 49ers defense is developing an identity that I think fans should be excited about. You could say bend but don't break. I think that's more pejorative. These guys are coming through clutch in big spots. And here's the thing. DeMeco Ryans is growing as a rookie defensive coordinator. And Ryan's development as a rookie coordinator is a huge deal for the 49ers. And yesterday's win over the Bengals, obviously 26-23, the 49ers played an explosive offense. The Bengals were boom or bust, number 8 in the league in explosive play rate. But they also had registered a lot of negative plays. And it was going to be up to the 49ers and DeMeco Ryans, who wasn't dealt a favorable deck of cards, to get the Bengals in a negative on enough plays at the right time to give the 49ers a chance to win. And I thought that he absolutely did that for the majority of the game. Now, remember what the 49ers were dealing with here. Jason Verrett hurt in week 1. Emmanuel Mosley sprained his ankle, high ankle sprain last week. Then a tragedy struck. Dante Johnson's mother had a heart attack on Friday. She passed away on Sunday morning of the game. 49ers didn't have Dante Johnson. And, for all the hate that Dante Johnson gets from the casual fans, and I know those of you who watch, you guys aren't the casuals. You guys know what's up. The guy doesn't deserve it. He's typically a minimum contract player who has to know a bunch of different positions. He doesn't specialize at anything, and he does a replacement level job for the 49ers. And it's not easy to do a replacement level job in the NFL. As you saw yesterday when Ambry Thomas as a rookie struggled, as you've seen all season where the rookies for the 49ers have struggled to hit the field. Dante Johnson is a reliable guy on a minimum deal doing his best out there. And it's sad that it takes a tragedy for people to show him some love on the internet, but that's just the day and age that we live in. So prayers out to Dante Johnson's family. I mean, it's horrific. His mother suffered a heart attack and passed away this weekend. Obviously, he was not with the team. Then the 49ers locker room is with him. I know Dante Johnson. I've been covering this team since 2017. He's been there for a lot of the time. He's a journeyman, right? Dante Johnson is a player who – I'm going to turn on my light, by the way. The light's not on. Oh, that's way too bright. Turn that down. There. Much better. Yeah, Dante Johnson's a journeyman. I mean, he's a guy who – he's not a starting caliber player, but he's depth that you could really use on a football team. And the 49ers had to work without it on Sunday. And there's probably a little bit more appreciation for what Dante Johnson has done for them over the years and why he's stuck with the team in that depth role over the season. Now, nevertheless, DeMeco Ryans was able to make it work, despite the fact that he had to play Ambry Thomas in his first career start at that cornerback position. And despite the fact that the 49ers pass rush is not what it was back in 2019. I mean, this is not an overpowering pass rush. It's not an overpowering defense. And there are serious holes talent-wise at the cornerback position. Josh Norman is about to turn 34 years old. On the other side, Ambry Thomas obviously wasn't ready for big-time action, especially against Jamar Chase, who's one of the best young wideouts in football. I mean, this was a Bengals unit that not only featured Burrow and Chase, but also featured T. Higgins, also featured Tyler Boyd, also featured C.J. Uzomah, also featured Joe Mixon, who can So, as we deal with the internet issues at the hotel, it's been a little bit rough this week. Not of megabytes per second here at the Hyatt Regency. Maybe they need to upgrade the plan. But the 49ers needed to find a way to conceal the problems talent-wise in the back end. And surprisingly, DeMeco Ryans did it by running a lot of cover 2 man. I didn't expect as much man coverage, especially because we had seen Ambry Thomas play different technique, a lot of cover 1 press technique in Michigan, and because the 49ers historically under this regime had been a cover 3 unit, right? And that zone coverage on the outside with the cornerbacks. And I thought they might play a little bit more zone in this game and just allow some of those plays to rack up underneath them and then hope that they could pounce on a pick or something like that. But the 49ers didn't. They pun intended, manned up and continued the evolution of their defensive scheme into more of a cover 2 unit. We've seen more man coverage in the back end. And DeMeco Ryans said, hey, I trust the coaching of Ambry Thomas. Obviously, he trusts Josh Norman as a veteran, but yes, Norman is a step slower than before. So it's also, not as easy to put him out on the island there. But the 49ers trusted the technique of their corners in conjunction with well-timed blitzes, a trust in an improving interior pass rush, and a well-coached pass rush. And I'm going to use an example regarding Charles Omenihu to illustrate that in a few minutes. All those things together allowed the 49ers to play a little bit more cover 2 and ultimately conceal Ambry Thomas and Josh Norman enough to win this game. Now, I'm not saying that Norman and especially Ambry Thomas were flawless in this game. And Ambry Thomas was a net negative player in this game. Those 2 illegal hands to the face penalties killed the 49ers. One negated a Jimmy Ward interception. Another one negated a Nick Bosa sack. And then the Bengals did beat Ambry Thomas twice over the top with Jamar Chase. One time, the 49ers got lucky and Jamar Chase didn't catch the pass. It was overturned on replay. But the second time, the 49ers didn't get so lucky and it tied the game. But I think the reason the 49ers had this big insistence on cover 2 is because they trusted the rush and the coverage working in tandem, and the coverage, even with Ambry Thomas, playing good technique, and they trusted that the Bengals wouldn't get behind them. And for the most part, Ambry Thomas did his job. The 49ers defense knew that the offense would have to shield it in the game yesterday, and late in regulation, the offense didn't do a good job shielding the defense. That's why we got to overtime, right? That plus Robbie Gould missing the field goal at the end of regulation. But they only had so many bullets in them. The 49ers only had so many blitz bullets in them. And they used K'Wan Williams with 5.5 minutes left. They got off the field. Offense couldn't stay on the field for the 49ers. So ultimately, the Bengals were able to go back to that Ambry Thomas well, beat him with Jamar Chase, and tie the game. But that brings me to overtime. Because at that point, you think that DeMeco Ryans is out of bullets, right? You think that, he's used all the blitzes. Joe Burrow's seen everything. He's going to be able to beat the 49ers downfield. But that didn't quite happen. The Bengals did go 59 or 60 yards in 5 plays to open overtime, but they needed 3 more on this 3rd down play, and they weren't able to get those 3 more on this 3rd down play. So this is the one that I showed last night. Make sure you subscribe and watch last night's if you haven't yet, and I'm going to show it again because this was great from the 49ers and DeMeco Ryans. This shows his maturation as a defensive coordinator because here's one thing about DeMeco. He decided that he was not going to go down without a fight. The Bengals, keep in mind, had just moved the ball 60 yards in 5 plays. They're at the 19. It's 3rd and 3. It's not a favorable down and distance for the 49ers. But DeMeco Ryans says, even though I blitzed 2 plays ago with Jimmy Ward and Fred Warner, and even though CJ Uzomah burned it by making a catch over the middle of the field in wide open spaces from Joe Burrow, I'm going to figure something out. I'm not going to let the Bengals just pick up this 3rd and 3 for free and win the game because a touchdown would have meant a loss for the 49ers. So here's what DeMeco Ryans does. He feigns, he bluffs the blitz from Warner and Talanoa Hufanga. I think that's important because it gets Joe Burrow and everybody looking over to that side. But what he's really going to do is he's going to blitz K'Wan Williams. Now, Williams doesn't get home, but it still is an effective blitz. Because look here, Nick Bosa is working against a backup right tackle, Isaiah Prince. So the Bengals do what the 49ers did. They keep CJ Uzomah, their tight end, who's a good pass catcher, in the backfield to help with pass protection. The 49ers did this with George Kittle yesterday quite a bit. Uzomah's there to help Isaiah Prince, the backup right tackle, replacing Riley Reif with Nick Bosa. But because the 49ers send K'Wan Williams and they send him later. Just checking to make sure our audio is good. Because they send him later, CJ Uzomah has to pick up the nickel back. There's the pickup. Uzomah's on Williams. He does a good job picking him up. Williams is a good blitzer, but look at this. Nick Bosa is one-on-one with Isaiah Prince. 49ers win over left tackle as well. They're pushing the pocket there. That allows Bosa to come off his block, sack Burrow. That's the biggest play of the game. DeMeco Ryans decided that he wouldn't go down without a fight, and because of that, the 49ers held strong defensively on the biggest play of the game. So that's what I mean by well-timed blitzes. We saw a well-timed blitz from Fred Warner on drive 1. Obviously, we saw the first K1 blitz that resulted in the sack late in the fourth quarter, and then we saw that one in overtime. They didn't blitz a lot, but DeMeco Ryans blitzed at the right time, and it was about working smarter and not harder in this game, and you have to give DeMeco Ryans credit for executing that for the 49ers. He also trusted in an improving interior pass rush. This is why the 49ers didn't have to blitz all the time, and if they would have, that would have been suicide. They would have been exposed by the Bengals. The improving interior pass rush for the 49ers consists of Eric Armstead moving the tackle and DJ Jones consistently being the best player on the football field for large swaths of time. All right, maybe I'm exaggerating. Nick Bosa is the best player, but DJ Jones has been a close second for many, many snaps over the course of the past few weeks. And we haven't seen DJ Jones really healthy in December yet in his 49ers career. But DJ right now is playing rigid football up front, and he's explosive. He could rush the passer. He could stop the run. And I think the pairing of Eric Armstead and DJ Jones on the interior is great stuff for the 49ers. Don't forget, they're also getting good stuff whenever Arden Key lines up and rushes over tackles on pass obvious situations from the inside. So, you know, there was so much worry, and rightfully so, about the 49ers interior line after Javon Kinlaw went down earlier in the season. Eric Armstead was still playing outside. The 49ers weren't getting anything from Zach Kerr, who they thought they would get some production from, and he's now with the Cardinals after they waived him. So the interior wasn't good for the 49ers a few weeks ago. There are real issues there. But now it's really coming along. And I haven't even mentioned the fact that Kentavious Street beat right guard for the Bengals on the Joe Burrow interception to Jimmy Ward. Obviously, it was Ambry Thomas who had the illegal hands to the face penalty that nullified that. But Street won a big pass rush in that game, and he forced an interception. So the 49ers are getting something out of those interior rushers, which shouldn't go unnoticed. Chris Kasarik is coaching him up. He's getting DJ Jones best football because DJ Jones is finally healthy, and the 49ers are making it work. Remember that great 2019 defensive line didn't have DJ Jones down the stretch. He suffered an injury against New Orleans in this week, in week 14. This was New Orleans week. That's when Jimmy Garoppolo had that huge game, and the 49ers won 48-46. Well, New Orleans week is now Cincinnati week, and the 49ers interior line did some work. You know what else? The 49ers also have a well-coached pass rush. There was a play early on where, and there are several plays because Nick Bosa can't play 100% of the snaps, but early on, Nick Bosa exited the game, and I thought, the 49ers are vulnerable here. The Bengals are moving the ball. Second down and manageable. 49ers territory. Burrow, play fake, roll out. Charles Omenihu is taking coaching well. This is the guy the 49ers picked up in a trade from the Houston Texans a few weeks ago. And he read the rollout. How many times have 49ers fans pulled their hair out over the past few years when a quarterback rolls out and defensive end for the 49ers doesn't hold contain, and that quarterback has all day to throw or a lot of room to run? Well, that's not happening lately. And we need to take note of the fact that we're not talking about that because it's not happening. It didn't happen yesterday. The 49ers certainly made it work with Charles Omenihu on that play because he diagnosed the rollout from Burrow. He got his hands up. He was in the throwing lane. He tipped the pass, allowed Nick Bosa to come in on third down, and the 49ers got a key stop. So the Bengals were moving the ball on that drive. The 49ers needed to give Bosa a rest. They're vulnerable, but the commonly recurring theme happened. The 49ers bent, but they didn't break. They made a stop at the right time. So those three things, the well-timed blitzes, the trust in the interior rush, and a well-coached pass rush, with Omenahu spelling Bosa and Omenahu doing the job on second down and letting Bosa be rested to deliver another 2-sack, highly impactful performance. I mean, let's just shout it to the heavens right now. Nick Bosa has 14 sacks in a post-ACL year. I mean, all of this combined to allow DeMeco Ryans to trust the back end. And yes, Ambry Thomas had flaws in this game, but not enough flaws to cost the 49ers the game. So that was a hell of a coaching performance. DeMeco Ryans is growing up as a defensive coordinator. That's big for the 49ers because they're going to have a guy that knows how to pick the right spots as they move forward here into the stretch run and into the playoffs. You're going to be playing some of the game's best quarterbacks. And I think that round 2, 49ers against Aaron Rodgers can go differently if the 49ers get the Packers again, with DeMeco Ryans not being in his third game as a defensive coordinator anymore. He'll have a good 17, 18, maybe 19 games under his belt if he has to face Rodgers again. And that's a big deal because he could use those blitz bullets much more wisely than he might have used them in week 3. So the development of DeMeco Ryans was on display yesterday. He should get a lot of credit after that game. All right, time for me to answer some questions. Are you even listening to me? You're defending Thomas? I didn't defend Ambry Thomas. At what point in this video did I defend Ambry Thomas? I pointed out 2 illegal hands to the face penalties, and I pointed out that he got burned twice over the top. This video is about how DeMeco Ryans made the defense work, even with a weakness at cornerback in Ambry Thomas. So please actually read me or listen to me before making comments like that. I'm not defending Ambry Thomas. He had a tough assignment, yes, but he was a liability for the 49ers. Yet the 49ers and DeMeco Ryans found a way to make it work around him. Now, I will say Ambry Thomas had an excellent tackle on a screen pass to Joe Mixon that could have been a huge play. Came flying in for the side. Credit where it's due. If Thomas doesn't make that play, this game might end up differently. I mean, the margins were razor thin in this game, and the 49ers were able to make it work. So let's give Ambry Thomas credit for the play that he did make. He has been able to dish out some tackles. I think he's turning into a more physical player. He's getting in that weight room. He's stronger now than he was in the preseason or in week 1. But no, I'm not defending Ambry Thomas. I'm actually calling out the people that were pounding the table for the rookies to play for no reason earlier this year. This is the National Football League. You don't just play as a rookie, especially if you opted out of the 2020 season. So you have, Thomas hadn't really played since 2019. It wasn't going to happen early in the season. Now the 49ers can hope that he develops, that he takes his lumps. Jimmy Ward was talking about that yesterday. Jimmy Ward, as a rookie in 2014, dealt with several tough situations. Well, the 49ers have to hope that Ambry Thomas thrown into the fire yesterday, they have to hope that's a learning experience. I'm explaining why it was a learning experience, but I'm not defending him. What I'm doing is saying that DeMeco Ryans did a hell of a job in masking that, even while he's playing cover 2. So I thought that was a phenomenal performance for the 49ers defensive coordinator. All right, any more questions? Let's see them. Yeah, I mean, this is the perspective that we need. DeMeco Ryans only gave him 23 points in 5 quarters. DeMeco Ryans is a big reason the 49ers won that game. And that's huge for them moving forward. Again, DeMeco Ryans' development as a rookie coordinator is a huge deal for the 49ers. All right, I have to check out of my hotel room in like 25 minutes, so I want to record a couple more videos, but I'm going to make them separate. For now, this was about DeMeco Ryans. So subscribe to the YouTube channel. This was a team win, obviously. And I've talked about Jimmy Garoppolo. I've talked about George Kittle. I talked about Brandon Ayuk. Everybody you want to talk about, Deebo Samuel. But in a team win, when you need opportunistic defense, 49ers got that done yesterday. Subscribe and enjoy. Everybody have a good day in the rain back in the Bay Area. Take care.